Look at these handsome little green beans. So darn sweet. Good morning, YouTube. I haven't shared too much information on Anitra and Sasha lately, but the reason I wanted to hop on here and record them is because she is pregnant. She just shed her skin maybe 3 days ago, I would say, right there. And she should be laying those eggs any minute now. There's his body. There's her body. So she's definitely full of eggs. The next morning has arrived and I can tell that she is a lot more thin, and Rufus, of course, is still very, very sad with his cone, but I'm gonna have to do some digging and try and get these eggs out of here. All right, so right in the center of the frame is some pink right there. And that's, there actually used to be a ledge that was a part of the terrarium before I built up the soil in the back. And she actually laid her eggs under that ledge. I tore the ledge out. But there are the eggs. When snakes lay their eggs, it's often in like a cluster, sort of. They come out individually, but they're so soft they end up sticking together and forming a cluster. We've got one cluster here of 3. Very, very cool. Gonna go set these down. I'm pretty hopeful that there's more than 3 eggs, but I think last year she only laid 4. She's not gigantic either, I think like 20 inches. I actually found one of her old eggs from her clutch last year that I put back in after the babies hatched, just so that the isopods and stuff could eat them. But they never ate this. This is buried underground. All right, let's give Mama some water. She's probably very, very tired. She usually will come right out once I start spraying. Also want to water all these plants. I uprooted a bit of this ivy in the back corner there. It seems like it's doing great though. I planted it maybe 2-3 months ago. All right, the dogs are eating, so I'm going to head out to a shed and set up the incubation station. What worked for me, I'm no expert, but what worked for me last year was just doing like a damp perlite mixture and putting it in this container here that I drilled some air holes into. So I'm gonna clean this out, fill it up with perlite, and then I'll show you what I'll do. So I've just slowly added water to the perlite, and it is a little damp, but not soaking wet, and it's damp enough to where it can hold a shape, which I don't know how well you can see that sort of indentation there. But that's good. I went ahead and tried to separate the eggs just so that I could easily put one in a spot, and then I know which side is up, and then it's just easier to deal with a single egg than a cluster, but you don't have to do this. These 2 were too attached to where I didn't feel comfortable breaking them apart, so I just left them together. Now I'm gonna mark which side is the side that will stay up. Just used a marker to do so, and now I'm gonna take one and put it in one of those indentations that I was telling you that I could make in this now that it's damp enough. So let's do that. That's actually too large, so let me bring those sides in a bit. Now, unlike chicken eggs, you don't flip these. That's why I'm marking one side, just so that I know anytime that these are touched or moved, that side needs to stay up. Okay, now let's make a slightly larger indentation for the 2 eggs. I think something like this will probably work. There we go. Very nice. I'm gonna pack that in a bit with my other hand. The incubator here was something that I made for, I don't know, it was like 30 bucks, but it's just like an adhesive heating pad attached to some leftover foam that I had. You could put it directly onto the frame of the cooler itself. I just didn't want to do that in case if it caused any sort of melting or anything, but it's only gonna be set at 78 degrees. I put another foam pad here in the bottom, and that's where the eggs will go on top of that. And that was just because I wanted it raised, so if I wanted to add some water in the bottom for extra humidity, I could do that. Not really necessary, but yeah, we're ready to put these guys in here. I'm going to put the lid on them first and drop them down. Now that I've got it in there, I'm just going to put the thermostat right here. Just gonna take one quick look at Mama and Dada. They're both out together. You guys did this, you're amazing. Good job. Alrighty, I've got the eggs warming up to 78 degrees is what I'm gonna do. I think that there's a decent range that you could do somewhere between low 70s and low 80s and you'll be fine, but 78 worked for me last year and they hatched in like 3 to 4 weeks. Gonna do that. The only thing you need to do in this time is just check them for hydration. So make sure that you've got the humidity up in there. If you need to add water, just add water. And since it is so humid, just make sure that you're not developing any mold in there. So just keep an eye on that. I turn off the time lapse, these guys decide to not be shy anymore and come out of their shell, literally and figuratively. I'm actually going to do some adjusting of their little home here. And yeah, trying to wrangle two of those guys around and record is kind of impossible. So I just wanted to leave a little bit of perlite here. I'm gonna put the egg there, the one that has not hatched right here. And then I just want to put some soil and some leaf litter here, something that they could drink off of. They're not gonna eat anything because they haven't shed yet. I actually have to go out of town for about 24 hours for my mom's retirement party. So just want to get this set up, and then as soon as I get home, I can release them. All right, let's put this little guy in there. And this thing is about to pop. Now let's get a closer look at these fellas. Look at these handsome little green beans. So darn sweet. I don't know how long they are. Maybe like 5 or 6 inches, something like that. Just the tiniest little things, 1 day old. Their first day of life in the real world outside of that egg. All right, I'm just gonna get these guys in here, and then I will close the lid up and say goodbye until I'm back. About 24 hours. I promise. I'll be right back, guys. All right, I just got home from my mom's retirement party. My nieces did my nails. They look fabulous. And it looks like the last egg has hatched. I'm not going to open this and disturb these guys, but And another little snake in there. So we've got 3 healthy babies, it seems, which is awesome. And I will let them go either tonight or tomorrow. Well, YouTube, the time has come. I'm going to take these babies, little babies, to the same park that I found their parents at and release them. 3 healthy little green snakes. All right, let's do this. This looks like a nice little offshoot trail to begin looking for a spot to put these snakes. Don't want to put them right on the main trail so that people don't snatch them, because people love to grab a little baby snake. I'm thinking right in here in this thick stuff right here might be a good spot for them. They'll have some cover and they're surrounded by the thorny plants that they like to climb on, or at least the ones that I find them on. They are already letting themselves out. I'm just gonna let it happen. I've already done enough of my part. 2 down, 1 left to go. Maybe I can help this last one. Give it a goodbye kiss. Put it a little further in there. And where is it? There it is. Good luck, buddies. The things that I do for these snakes. Blood.